Hi my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome back to the channel. If you love anime, heartfelt reactions and deep dives into symbolism and themes, then you're in the right place. Before we jump into today's reaction, don't forget to hit that like button to show some love, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a moment of fun. And if you want even more exclusive content like early access to my reactions, full-length anime watch-alongs, and an amazing community of fellow anime lovers, please do check out my Patreon. You can find a link in the description box below. Your support truly means the world as it helps to keep these reactions coming, and I'd love to have you join our cozy little anime family. Today we are reacting to episode 24 of series 4 of Attack on Titan. And Connie is on his way with Falco to try and save his mom. I don't think it's going to go the way that he wants it to go. I think Keith is going to die very soon because he's talking about revolting, standing up, and he's no longer being the bystander. So I think this is going to culminate in his arc where he stands up and dies for something. He's not the bystander anymore. He is having an impact on the world around him. He is going to try and change things somehow. Annie is awake. Hitch is trying to help Annie escape so that Annie can get home, even though we don't think she's going to make it in time. We also saw that there was a bit of rebellion happening in the internment camps. We don't quite know the outcome of that. We know that they had the guns pointed on them. Annie's dad was wrestling for the gun, and then we had a bang, so we don't actually know the outcome of that yet. So hopefully Annie's dad's okay, but the show is cruel enough that I don't think we'll get Annie and her dad reuniting. It's been building up to it, and I feel like the show's going to be like, tough luck. Armin's going after Connie and Falco. He's going to try and convince Connie not to do it. Hanji and Levi are back. They have met up with Magath and Peak. So let's see how that plays out. Levi looks like he's lost an eye. He refuses to die, which is so Levi. And Mikasa doesn't quite know what to do with herself. She is kind of at a loss as to what direction to go in, how to help the people around her, and her scarf is gone. And Flock is trying to coerce Jean into having a cushy life in the military police, which is not Jean. Jean gave that up in series 1, and I don't think he's about to accept it now, not at the cost of so many people dying in the process. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 24 and we're going to see how this plays out. The rumbling is legitimately terrifying. Oh, we've only ever seen this one other time. The warning about graphic violence. You can't look at the scouts the same way.
みんな巨人にされたけど、君だけ生き残った。この怪我でまだ生きてるのも同じ理由だろうね。君がアッカーマンだからだ。
Hanji and Levi are so ride or die for each other. I'd love a friendship like that.
私たちじゃジークを止められないだろうし、アルミンやピクシス司令に託すしか。
Pixies is gone.
多分順番が来たんだ。自分じゃ正しいことをやってきたつもりでも、いっそ二人でここで暮らそうか。ねえ、リヴァイ。今のはまさかエレンが世界を。リヴァイ。
Levi got it as well. We haven't seen Zeke since the rumbling began. He's lost his fingers.
逃がしたこのまま逃げ隠れて何が残る。
なんだよ、私の独り言聞こえていたのか。
蚊帳の外でお前がおとなしくできるはずがねえ。
ああ、そうなんだよ。できない。
They're gonna work together. Dream team.
9つの巨人に引けを取らない強さを持つらしいが、そのざまでどうやって俺の弾丸を避けるつもりだ。
Magath, please.
このざまを敵の前にみすみすさらした。撃つか聞くか、あんたたち次第だ。
God, I love Levi. No fear.
おそらくは王家の血を利用するためにエレンに取り込まれている。
What, like inside
始祖の巨人に。
the body
巨人
of
博士の
that
ハン
Titan?
ジさんなら何でもわかるようですね。我々マーレよりも。
我々はやるしかないんだよ。みんなで力を合わせようってやつを。
That's why we haven't seen Zeke. He's being held sort of captive so that he can continue to control the rumbling, essentially. But ugh. I was wondering what had happened because we saw them kind of like not merge, but there was the big blast, and then we haven't seen Zeke since. I just didn't realize that like he'd taken Zeke quite literally into the body in order to keep him there, have trapped him there. Or maybe I've misunderstood and Zeke's body is there, but mentally he is with Eren. But they need to be touching in order for Eren to control the abilities. But now that he's kind of bypassed it by coercing Ymir, but then he wouldn't see Ymir without Zeke. It's only because of Zeke that he can see Ymir and communicate and speak with Ymir. So yeah, he probably does have Zeke with him. We'll most likely find out how that's happening, but ugh, it didn't even cross my mind. It's so good to see Levi back though. I've missed him. Terrifying.
母さんにファルコを食わせるにはどうすればいい？やっぱり力ずくか。怪我でもさ
Drop
せて
him into
巨
her
人の
mouth.
力があることがバレたらおしまいだ。素直な子だよな。
He's not going to be able to
こん
do
な
it
ところで野宿することに文句も言わない。俺を疑ってもいいのに。
because he thinks she's saving him.
信じているのか？俺のことを。
He thinks you're a good person.
サシャ、お前なら分かってくれるか？
No. Sasha could have killed Gabby and she didn't, so I don't think Sasha would agree with Connie doing this. I think she'd empathize, but she wouldn't agree.
ここラガコ村。
どうして分かった？
昨晩あなたの独り言が聞こえてきました。サシャって飛行船でガビに撃たれた仲間の兵士ですよね。
Not just his
あなたは
comrade, his
俺が誰か
sister.
を知りながら
They were
知らないふ
essentially
りしてここまで連
siblings.
れてきた。これを俺に見せてどうするつもりですか？
Connie, come on, man.
巨人の歯磨きを手伝ってほしいんだ。
Oh,
こんな貴重
Connie.
な体験めったにないぞ。ほら、あの上からガシガシやるだけだから、あそこまで登って。
Is he hoping that he'll fall in?
なあ、いいだろう。
そいつから離れて。
ガビ、
あんたを巨人に食わせようとしてる。
ガニー、
やめろ。
来るな！お前らが
Oh, Connie, please just listen.
こいつを生かした方が得だって言うんだろう。だから母ちゃんを諦めろって。
Oh,
正しいお前
Connie.
なんかにバカのことなんてわかんねえよ。
ファルコ、アギトの力を使って。
アギトの力。ガリアードさんは。
Armin doesn't want to use his power. He can't.
ガビ、コニーを許してくれ。
He's having flashbacks to Erwin. No, he's going to sacrifice himself to bring Connie's mum back. That's his intention.
何か言えよ。
Sacrificing himself like Erwin did
だから
to protect others.
行動で示せよ。
Connie's not going to do it. He's going to rescue him. There's no way. Armin is his family too. There's no way he would do that to Armin. Oh,
俺が
Falco.
助けなかったらどうするつもりだったんだ。
君のお母さんが人の姿に戻ってた。
超大型巨人を継承してな。そうなりゃ母ちゃんを苦しめるって考えりゃわかることなのに、立派な兵士になれって言って送り出された。なのに息子は子供と友達を殺すかもしれなかった。
But she'd understand,
そんな
Connie.
兵士になっちまったんだ。俺は。
Ah, they're just kids.
アルミン、俺は母ちゃんに誇れる兵士になりたい。
She would be proud, Connie.
だから困ってる人を助けに行こ
I knew he wouldn't do it. How could he? They're just kids. They didn't ask for this. And Armin is his family. He's as good as his brother. He can allow Armin to do that. And he said, oh, you know, that would only make her suffer being the colossal, but becoming the jaw titan would also make her suffer regardless. She is going to be thrust into a situation she never wanted or asked for. Village that was deserted after being overrun by titans. Upon their arrival, the scouts discovered a single titan with extremely small limbs, which made it unable to move. Later, when titans were being eradicated from the island, former resident Connie, I can't say that word, so I just skip it. Connie Springer requested for the village to become a Titan observation zone and be left as is to protect his mom because he didn't want her to be killed. I hope there is a way to save Connie's mom, but I have a horrible feeling that eventually she'll have to be put out of her misery. There doesn't really seem to be any way for her to kind of come back from this.
探した。嬉しいです。
She did take the scarf.
私を探してくれたんですか？それともこのマフラーをあなたが持っていると思った。ダイソーの破片がお腹にあってもう取り出せません。
No.
エレン・イエーガーの作る自由な世界を見ることができなくて残念です。このマフラーは捨ててほしいと話してました。でも捨てるくらいだったらこの
So he did see the scarf.
返して。あなたに憧れて兵士になりました。悔いはありません。あなたの背中を追いかけて私は心臓を捧げて生きたのですから。
Mikasa kind of did the same with Eren, though. She never became a soldier because she wanted to be. She followed in Eren's footsteps.
俺には自由をもたらす金の根のようだったよ。
The bells of freedom, but at what cost?
だが終わった。
Jean, this has to be a
我々はもう
joke.
自由だ。
I feel like Jean's
解放者エレンと我
manipulating.
らイエガー派によって
There's no way that Jean's siding with Flock here.
なあミカサ、お前もイエーガー派に加わって統治者に名乗りてるのか？
No.
興味ない。
心臓を捧げよう。心臓を捧げよう。心臓を捧げよう。
I don't think Jean has made up his mind. I think he's manipulating. He's going to find a way to revolt.
しかし本当なのか、アルミン。
すべての硬質化が解かれたのなら、兄が復活した可能性も。
She's literally there.
兄がパイをむさぼり食ってる。汚ねえ食い方。
4年ぶりのパイなんだよ。
Oh,
ご
God.
めん、並ぶのに時間かかって。
ヒッチ偶然アルミン・コニーと会い行動を共にすることになった。先を急ぐ。迷惑をかけた。4年間話しかけてくれて
Hitch isn't going to leave it at that. Hitch is going to go after them.
陰湿なルームメイトより
一人じゃ食べきれないじゃない。
これよりエルディア
Oh,
帝国にあだら
God.
ず二人の義勇兵を処刑する。
Oh,
そ
Jean.
れは同時に我々イエガー派が世界を治めんとするエレンの意志を継ぎ、このパラディ島の統治を宣言するものである。罪人の名はイエレナ。マーレに反旗を翻し、エルディア帝国を支援した真の狙いは、始祖の力をジークのものとし、安楽死計画なるエルディア人の完全なる殲滅を実現させることにあった。 イエレナ、最後に言い
Yelena
たいことは
deserves to be punished, but not to
まだ撃たな
die.
いの
Not gonna beg for her life. There's more strength than that. What have you all become?
罪人はおにゃんこぽん。罪人は安楽死計画を知らず。
So what's his crime, Flock?
だが、エルディア帝国に従って生きるくらいなら死を選ぶと吐き捨てた。
Yes, because his people will die.
俺はマーレから故郷を救うためエルディアに力を貸した。それはあんたたちのためでもあった。俺の故郷は潰され、俺の家族は皆殺しだ。で、
You've become the monsters that you swore you weren't.
お前らにこびてまで生きるほどの価値はない。突然無差別に殺される
There's more pride
ど
than
れ
that.
ほど理不尽なことか知ってるはずだろう。どうしてあんたたちがわからないんだ。
You've become monsters.
黙ってないでなんとか言えよ。じゃん。
Jean, don't you fucking dare, Jean.
しまった。外した。
Don't you fucking dare! John's not been eaten. The cart's taken him for a reason to meet with Hanji and Levi. There's no way Jean's dying to save Flock.
銃
Fuck
声を
that.
続けて4発ジャンから作戦続行の合図
まだら砦の反対側に注意がいってるはずだ
They're fighting back. I knew it. I knew Jean wouldn't side with Flock.
誰かこっちを見てる
巨人の口の中だって二度と来ないんだよ。車力は何ヶ月も巨人になったままでいられるんでしょ。歯磨きとかしないの。
失礼ですよ。女性に対して。いつの間にマーレと手を組んだ。
昨晩だ。
いいのか。お前、家が派にいれば。
Because it's not worth it.
死は安泰のは
It's
ずなの
not
に。
worth sacrificing your soul to become a monster.
あのまま耳を塞いで部屋にこもっていたかった。でも、それじゃあ骨の
マーコー
を許してくれねえんだよ。
君を確保することが車力の力を借りる条件だったんだ。生きたまま引き渡せって。
Oh god. He's so angry at Marco. His death lives on even in series 4.
時間がねえ。早く行くぞ。
どこに。
The gang's all here
世界を救いに。
against Eren. I knew Jean couldn't be siding with Flock. After everything, there was absolutely no way that Jean was ever siding with Flock on that. It would go against everything that he's worked to achieve. It would just be a complete destruction of who he is as a character. It would be a disgrace to Marco. To Marco's death, Marco's belief in him to be a leader, to be understanding of people, to do what's right and make a change in this world. He has to live up to Marco's expectations, but also to the promise that he made Marco that he wouldn't allow people to die needlessly, that he would stand up and protect humanity. And that means saving the world from Eren. That means taking Eren out in the process. They're banding together to take down Eren because they can't allow this to happen. As soon as he mentioned the ashy bones, I knew I was going to lose it. Even after everything, Marco has significance. It's so bittersweet because he deserved to be here. He deserved to be alive, and his death continues to haunt the narrative even in series 4. haunts Jean and his character trajectory. Just heart-wrenching, heart-wrenching. But they're all working together. Reiner is being reunited with the comrades that he hasn't worked with since series 2. He hasn't seen Annie since series 1. She's back with them. Connie isn't even treating her like an enemy. He's laughing at her for guzzling pie, but how can you blame her? She's been trapped in that cocoon not eating for 4 years, so of course she's gonna guzzle it. As soon as Jean was in the mouth of the cart titan, I was like, there's no way he's dying to save Flock. There's absolutely no way that's happening. So I knew there had to be a bigger plan in place. There had to be something else happening. Magath is honed on Yelena. He's like, we're gonna have this out. This is part of us working together now, is you bring Yelena here alive. Oh, their relationship dynamic is going to be interesting to see how that works because they know each other. So I can't wait to see them have it out, or to learn more about Yelena as a person and her background, because we really don't know much. We have got little bits and pieces here and there, but not a lot. Again, Flock not understanding why people won't be subordinates to them because they oppressed these people before. Yes, they don't remember doing it, but why would anyone willingly allow themselves to be oppressed again? They have tried to help you fight against Marley, tried to help you fight against the ethnic cleansing. They too are oppressed. They're not subjects of Emir, but they are still oppressed people who were willing to put themselves at risk to help you fight back against ethnic cleansing, to side with you. And this is how you repay them. You become the monsters that Marley claims you to be. You're playing into the narrative, into the depiction of you as cruel, callous, and uncaring. The people that are fighting against that narrative are going to be the ones that establish peace, are going to be the ones that try to help Marley despite everything, because they know that they have to do something. They have to help people. They have to protect the world. And they're going to be the ones that help pave the way for peace going forward because they're working with Magath. They're trying to save the world. And Marley are going to see that. The world is going to see that. And they're going to realize that these people are not the monsters that they claim them to be. Take the Titans out of the equation here. It's not just the Titans that are the issue, it's humanity in general that's the issue. We know that Marley has fought wars against other people that don't have Titan abilities. We know that war is something that is continuously happening. It's not just something that happens because they have Titans or because they fear the threat of Titans. Warmongering and violence has been ongoing for decades. It is not new to the idea of the Oldians or the Titans in general. Remove the Titans from the equation for a minute, because without the spinal fluid, without the serum, they cannot become pure Titans. You are seeing these people as a threat for something that they can't just become without serum, without the spinal fluid. It's not just something that emerges. You're dooming and condemning an entire race of people for something that is not guaranteed to happen. It's not right. It's not okay. But at the same time, you cannot become the oppressors and expect the oppressed to side with you. You also cannot become the oppressors and claim yourselves to be a victim. Yes, you can fight back against oppression. You can fight back to protect yourselves, protect your family, protect the people you love and care about, but not at the expense of committing the same atrocity. That's the difference. They can start a war that is justified. They can fight to protect themselves. That is justified. They can kill to protect themselves. That is justified. but killing innocent civilians, what ethnically cleansing the world, none of that is justified. We know none of that is justified. To justify it is to play into that narrative of them as monsters, as worthy of being ethnically cleansed, as being condemned. It's in twisting the narrative, it is in deconstructing the narrative that change can happen, peace can happen, and that they can move forward as a society together progressively, because they've undone that perspective, they've undone that narrative. But if they're not willing to try and undo it, then what's the point? That's the whole message that Armin's been trying to get across, is if we don't try, then how can we say that we really gave peace a chance? If we don't give them the opportunity to unlearn that bias, unlearn that hatred, have we really attempted peace, or have we just automatically decided that peace isn't an option? That's why they're fighting back. That's why they're trying to save the world, because nothing justifies the ethnic cleansing of other people. As was said, you're being xenophobic. You are condemning everyone to death that is not yourself. Why? At what cost? They tried to help you, and you've punished their people who are oppressed too by Marley, who you should be siding with, empathizing with, because you can feel that same sense of connection. If anything, they have suffered more because their people are directly oppressed by Marley. Paradise isn't directly oppressed by Marley. Marley threatens them with ethnic cleansing, but they're not oppressed by Marley, not to the same extent as the audience on the continent, and not to the same extent as the other people on the continent who are conquered by Marley. So by comparison, don't have the same experience, and yet they're not willing to empathize and understand them, and not willing to work with them. You've outright decided that their people's deaths is worthy, that you should just pursue ethnic cleansing of the world on a grand scale. For what? To protect yourselves? But at what cost? This is the thing that we keep coming back to. At what cost? Where do you draw the line? You can't continue to advocate for something that is going to make you the monster, that's going to make you the villain. Flock's ideology is fascism. Flock's ideology makes him the villain. It makes him a horrible person. We shouldn't be seeing this as the only solution. We should be open to other perspectives, open to challenging the narrative, open to trying something new and bold and brave, rather than just deciding that because we should just wipe them out, because the only way to be free is for us to be the only ones to exist in the world. If we all thought that way, then the world would be completely destroyed and erased as we know it. You have to try something new. You have to pave the way for something else. You can't continue to exist this way. I knew Connie wasn't going to be able to do it, but it took Armin kind of emotionally manipulating the situation a little bit. I do think he was fully intending to sacrifice himself. If Connie didn't rescue him, I think he was fully intending to kill himself in that moment, because he had that flashback of Erwin and Erwin's sacrifice. Erwin gave his life to protect humanity, to protect those that were left, because they were the best chance for humanity to move forward, to discover the truth in the basement. He gave his life to give them the chance, and in honor of that sacrifice, Armin was also willing to sacrifice his life if it meant saving Falco, if it meant giving Connie what he truly wanted. But Connie realized in that moment, Armin is his family, Armin is his brother. He can't allow Armin to just die. He can't lose him. And I think his mum would be proud. I think his mum would be proud of the man that he's become, that he was willing to put aside his own wants and needs and desires for the greater good, for a bigger cause than himself, to become the soldier that was meant to protect everyone, that was meant to protect the world. But I am so excited to see how this all plays out, especially now that everyone's reunited. Annie's there. Falco and Gabby have reunited with Reiner. Reiner's awake, he's recovering, Mikasa's there. Her parallels with Louise, her following in Mikasa's footsteps to be close to her, is also similar to Mikasa following in Eren's footsteps to be close to him. And I think she feels almost disgusted because she's recognizing that that's what she's done. She feels almost unsympathetic towards Louise. She feels very unemotionally attached to it. She doesn't seem to quite comprehend why she would do that. And I think it comes down to this idea of maybe recognizing that that's what she's done and that she needs to detach herself from Eren and break away from that emotional attachment and loyalty to Eren to stand up for something else, to stand up for the world in juxtaposition to Eren's wants and desires. She needs to stand up for something bigger than herself in this moment, and that means disconnecting those emotional ties with Eren right now. His comment about throwing the scarf away is a bit of a weird one. He did always say that she should throw it away and that he'd replace it because it was old and ragged and she was repairing it, and he was like, we can just get you a new one, without really understanding the emotional significance to it. So I'm wondering if that just plays back on him not understanding the emotional significance of it, or if that's another way for him to sever that tie with Mikasa, because I think he's still trying to do that to protect her. But Levi's back in the picture, Hanji's back in the picture, everything is ramping up, and oh god, I am so excited to see how this all plays out. It is going to be intense. It's nerve-wracking as to how they're going to save the world, but they're going to be in direct opposition to Eren. They're going to stand against Eren. And I did say that I had a feeling at the beginning of Series 4 that they were going to find themselves at odds with Eren. Whether this is Eren's intention or not, I don't know, because I had a theory at the beginning of Series 4 that I felt like Eren was intending for them to stand against him, to stand in opposition to him, so that they would be forced to protect the world and undo that narrative of them as being monsters, as only caring about themselves, because they stepped forward to protect everyone else. That Eren's pushed them to this point by doing something that's so unforgivable, so heinous, that it forces the people he loves and cares about most to come after him, to deconstruct that narrative by protecting Marley and the world. And Marley and the world are able to see that they're not monsters and allow the subjects of Ymir and the audience to live in peace and to exist in the world without seeing them as a threat. That was a theory I had in beginning of Series 4, and now I'm wondering if that still is the case, that this is just his extreme way of pushing them to view him as the enemy so that they will then save the world and pave the way forward for peace, even if that means sacrificing his life in the process and sacrificing others in the process. That he's done all of this not to ethnically cleanse the world, but to push his friends into fighting back, into fighting him, so that then he can stop this and then the world can establish peace somehow. I don't know. They're his beloved comrades. I do think perhaps there is a part of Eren that believes wiping out the world will solve the issues, but I think there's more to it. I think it's too simplistic. I think there has to be a deeper meaning to it. I think there is a part of Eren that does believe that doing this protects the people of Paradise, protects the people within it. But I also have a feeling that he's pushing them. And there's a reason why he's pushing them, because he sees this as the only way to establish peace, not by wiping out the world, but by pushing his friends to put a stop to him. He's become the enemy of the world to allow his friends to become the hero, and in the process allowing them to save the world and establishing peace. He's made himself the enemy so that then they will fight against him, because they see that they have to do so in order to save the world. He's made himself the enemy to achieve peace. That's kind of where my mind goes back and forth on. I think he has to be doing this for a reason. I think it's more than just establishing peace in Paradise by wiping out the world. I think it's to push his friends into action, into doing something, into saving the world And as a consequence, he's willing to sacrifice his life for it. He's willing to allow them to kill him if needs be because he wants peace to be established. I wonder if this terrible thing that he's doing isn't something that he wants to do, but is doing it because he intends his friends to stop him. He's pushed his friends to this point because he knows that no matter how hard he tries, he has to do this, but he wants his friends to stop him because he doesn't want to do this. I'm wondering if that's the case, that he's done this because he knows it's inevitable. He knows he has to, but he really doesn't want to. And because he doesn't want to, he's pushed his friends to this point where they have no choice but to intervene because he knows that they'll be able to stop him. And it's the only way to stop him is to push them to do it, possibly. But I think he's making himself the enemy for a reason. He's making himself the enemy for the greater good of humanity. I don't think it's as simplistic as wiping out the world so that the subjects of Ymir in paradise and the audience in paradise can live in peace and harmony. I think it's to allow his friends to stop him and put an end to this terrible action that he set in motion because he knows that he had no other choice but to do this. No matter how hard he fights against something happening, it still happens. He tried to stop Hannes from dying. Hannes still died. He didn't want Sasha to die, but Sasha still died. Everything he fights against happens. It's almost like it's inevitable. He knows it's going to happen. So what if this is also something that's inevitable, something that he knows is going to happen no matter what, but the only thing that he can do to fight against it is to motivate his friends to see him as the enemy and as someone that needs to be put a stop to. And that's his greater goal. That's his ambition to end this, is to make his friends see him as someone that they have to take out, as someone that they need to get rid of. The rumbling was something that always was going to happen. He couldn't stop that. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop that from happening. That's what I think is in his mind. He knows that this terrible thing is going to happen and he cannot put a stop to it. No matter how hard he tries to put an end to it, he can't. He knows it's inevitably going to happen, and therefore he's trying to find ways to prevent it from happening, even if that means sacrificing himself in the process. And I think this is his way of doing it. This is his way of sacrificing himself, is making his friends hate him, making his friends think that he has become this awful, horrible person that could sanction the ethnic cleansing of numerous people. Perhaps he really is, and I'm giving him too much credit, but I don't know. I think there's more to it. I think he's pushed them to this brink because he really doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to commit these atrocities, but knows that it's just an inevitable process. He really doesn't have a choice. He's being coerced into doing this. He's being forced into doing this. And the only way that he can do it is by influencing others around him to try and put a stop to the actions he knows that are inevitably going to happen, that he has no choice but to do. But he can have his friends stop him somehow, which is why he pushes them away, which is why he doesn't tell them what's going on, which is why he makes them think that he's become this person that they no longer recognize, because it's his way of pulling strings, of puppeteering, of making them see him as the enemy in order to take him out. Ultimately, my perspective is that Eren has no free will. He knows inevitably this is all going to happen regardless of how hard he tries to stop it. And I think perhaps he does try to stop it and realizes he can't. The wheels are in motion. There's nothing he can do to stop it from happening. He is just watching it happen, but he's trying to pull strings elsewhere, knowing that he can influence others to step in where he can't. He's wanting them to help him, to stop him somehow. That's what I think the show could be going in a completely different trajectory, but we'll see how this plays out. But it would fit with Eren if he is trying to get them to stop him somehow. I think, again, we're supposed to see him as this horrible, cruel figure, as somebody who is not above wiping out an entire world through a mass genocide, but I don't quite buy that that's fully Eren. I don't think this is what Eren wants. I think Eren knows inevitably he's going to do this, but he's trying to ensure that there are people that can stop him because they're the only ones that can stop him. He has no free will. He has no ability to stop what is inevitably going to happen, but he can influence those around him to put a stop to his actions and put a stop to what he's going to do in order to save the world and pave the way for peace. That's where my mind is at right now. The show could prove me wrong, but that's where my mind is at. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!